Great. So there we go. Our session is being recorded. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Mentor Advisory Forum today, Solving Challenges. The government wants to help you innovate. So I'm pleased to welcome you here to Women's Enterprise Center. My name is Kerrilee Auger, and I am the Skills Development Officer here, working out of our Kelowna office. And before we get started, for those of you that are on the WebEx platform, I just want to give you a quick overview of the tools that you can use to communicate with us today, because we do have everyone on mute to avoid any of the distracting background noise that we can sometimes get. So you have two options available. We have the chat window and also the Q&A. And if you look to the top right hand of your screen and those aren't looking highlighted in a blue color, if you click on those icons, that will turn them on for you, and you will be able to see those on the right-hand side of your screen. So please enable those and do send in your questions as they come up, and we'll try to address those either at the end of the session or in a follow-up email that we will send out to you. So just a quick overview for those of you joining us for the first time. Women's Enterprise Center is a nonprofit organization that helps with women business owners to realize their business potential, and we do that through a variety of means. We have business loans of up to $150,000. We have professional business advice and resources that are available to you, a lot of them on our website. Skills training, such as this session, workshops, both live and in webinar format. We do mentoring programs, and I have an exciting announcement about that at the end of our session today too, so please stay tuned for that. And we also have a very supportive community, so getting involved on our Facebook page, LinkedIn, on our website. There's a wealth of information that is available for you to learn more about how to be successful in your business. So today's session, again, my name is Kerrilee. I'm working here in Kelowna, and joining us to facilitate the session, our panelists today, Tess is the supply specialist with the Office of Small and Medium Enterprises. Amber Mousseau is the Senior Advisor for Innovation, Science, and Economic Development Canada. And Kate Kaminska is the Portfolio Manager of Innovation for Defense, Excellence, and Security Ideas from the Department of National Defense and the Government of Canada. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and hand off to Tess. Thank you, Tess. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
And I will hand it over to you. Thank you very much.
Perfect. So I just want to confirm everyone can see the first slide. I'm going to move to the second one now. I'm controlling it. Is that right?
Hi, Tess. Can I hear you?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you, Tess.
Okay. So as Kerrilee said, my name's Tess. I'm with the Office of Small and Medium Enterprises.
Tess, have you muted yourself? I'm not hearing any sound.
I am not on mute. Kerrilee, can you hear me now? Hello?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Tess, I can hear you. I think it might be Kerrilee's having some issues.
Okay, I'm going to proceed as if everyone can hear me. So as I said, I'm with the Office of Small and Medium Enterprises. We run the Build in Canada Innovation Program, which is what we will be talking about today. Our office is located in Vancouver, BC. We have regional offices across the country, and we have another outlet in Victoria as well. So we are always happy to meet with anyone after this session. If you have interest, you will be given our contact information. Feel free to reach out to us and let us know you're interested in meeting one-on-one. I will be in the Okanagan the week of March 5th, so if people are in that area, do let me know. We can meet in person there, but we're fairly mobile or can arrange meetings over the phone to discuss more details about this program. So the Build in Canada Innovation Program was launched in 2010, and since then we have had 429 pre-qualified innovations through the program that the Government of Canada has supported. We've awarded contracts for $117 million, and the majority of those contracts have gone to small and medium enterprises, so around 97% have gone to SMEs, with the majority going to actually small companies around Canada. The Build in Canada Innovation Program is not a grants or funding program. It is actually a first sale program. So we are looking for companies that have something that is innovative, what we call a significant advance on the state of the art, and they are ready to commercialize, they are ready to go to market, but they haven't actually made their first sale. That's where we step in, and as the Government of Canada, we would like to be your first customer. So we work with you to provide you feedback as your first customer. Did your innovation work as you thought it would with, you know, this type of market? You kind of get a stamp of approval from us. And on the government side, we match you up with someone who is able to test out your innovation within a federal government setting and give you some feedback on that. So from a government perspective, we get some cool new stuff that we can try out. You do get a reference sale, which is quite important when you're taking your innovation to market. It's always good to have backing from the Government of Canada and be able to say that your first sale was with us. We have had companies through the program that have used that to go sell abroad, as well as within Canada. So you also, it's called kind of hand-holding in terms of government procurement. You get to understand the process of how the federal government does their purchasing. You get assigned a person who will walk you through the process. You get to create a contract with us. So you get to learn how to sell to the Government of Canada, and hopefully in the future you can add on some sales to that. So how the program works, as I mentioned, the Build in Canada Innovation Program, it is a procurement or a purchasing program. So we still do need to run things in a competitive, fair, open, transparent method. So we have an open proposal that you can really apply whenever your company is ready. You can view the proposal on our website, which will be listed later on. It's buyandsell.gc.ca. You submit the proposal to us. It goes through a review with the National Research Council. The IRAP program does an evaluation, so they are looking that your company can demonstrate that you are what we call a significant advance on the state of the art, so how you are innovative, what your company is doing that's different. We are also looking at your commercialization plan so that you have the resources, the financial capacity to bring this to market. We don't want to be your one and only customer. So we're evaluating on that, and you're also proposing to us what a test would look like should you get into the program. So what would you like to see a test? How many, if it's a good, how many devices, if it's software, how many users would need to be involved in that test, and details like that. We are looking to be your first real sale, so we are not looking for you to discount the price. We want you to actually have thought about what your market price is going to be, and that's what we would pay for the innovation. So once you get into the program, you're pre-qualified. You get assigned what we call an innovation manager, and they will work with you to match you up with a federal government department who is able to test out your innovation. So we create a bit of a marketing plan, and then we start calling different people within the federal government to see who would like to test out your innovation. Once we have a tester in place, we sit down with you and the tester and ourselves, and we actually develop the contract. So we would write the statement of work, we would write a concrete test plan, all the deliverables would be detailed, all the financial aspects would be taken care of, you would understand how and when you are going to get paid, and then the testing would occur. And in terms of testing length of time, the shortest test I've ever seen was a day. That was a bridge, a pop-up bridge, and for liability we couldn't leave it up longer. But that's on the short side. Typically a test will run for about 6 months to a year so that we can provide you with some good feedback. And then once it's all wrapped up, again, you get our feedback, and hopefully you go on to commercialize. To be eligible for the program, you must not have sold your innovation commercially. So your company as a whole can have commercial sales. We're looking at the specific innovation you're applying for. You can also have friends and family beta test sales on that innovation, but once it goes commercial, then you're not eligible for this program. You have to be a Canadian business, 80% Canadian content, and there's a number of ways we define what Canadian content is. Most of the time, if you have an office in Canada and some stuff is being assembled here or something like that, you will meet our 80% rule. You need to show that you either own or have the rights to the IP. The Government of Canada, we do not want to own your company. We do not want any of those rights, but we need to ensure that you have those. And then you have to pick whether you are going to go in our standard stream or our military stream. So should you choose to go in our standard stream, we have 4 priority areas. So there's environment, health, enabling technologies, and safety and security. Don't get hung up on these. They are just check boxes. If you are not a clear fit in environment, health, or safety and security, you are an enabling technology. We have never eliminated a company based on these 4 boxes, so don't spend too much time picking the one that applies to you. And for this program, for the standard stream, our contract can be up to $500,000 per innovation that you apply for. Should you choose to go the military stream, we have 6 priority areas, so cybersecurity, command and support, in-service support, protecting the soldiers, Arctic and Marine, and training systems. So again, you pick the one that applies best to you, and we have more definitions of what each of them mean and what we're looking for on our website. And for the military stream, we can contract up to $1 million per innovation. Another part of this program is you have to be at a certain technology readiness level, so we use a TRL scale. So we are really looking for companies that are level 7 at a minimum. And level 7 is when you have a prototype that is ready for demonstration in an operational environment. So we don't want something that needs to be tested in a lab situation. We want something that we can actually implement in a real life environment. That's the minimum. And then, level 9 is that you've actually proven your technology to be successful. You just don't have sales on it yet. So you can be anywhere in those levels. I often recommend looking at this program when you are a late 6 into early 7, because when you apply to this program, it takes us about 2 to 3 months to do a review of your proposal. So you won't hear from us for 2 to 3 months. And then if you don't get into the program and you still don't have commercial sales, you can take the feedback we give you and you can reapply into the program. So it's good to look at this early to make sure that you have that amount of time. Again, we don't want to hold you back on making commercial sales. So we are also looking at your commercial sales the day you hit submit on your proposal. So if you are at level 9 and you hit submit today and you get a big purchase order from someone tomorrow, you can still be part of this program because you got your application in before you actually made those commercial sales. How your proposal is evaluated. So like I said, we are looking for you to demonstrate that what you're doing is new and innovative, and that's kind of worldwide. So that's where our friends with the IRAP program, their evaluation comes in. They are experts in different fields, and we assign the proposals based on their expertise, and they have an idea of what's going on in those fields. So they will be assessing that what you're doing is truly unique. We want to see that you have a very good test plan with clear objectives. So what are you really looking to get out of this test? What do you want us to help you with? and what are the risks associated with this. There are always going to be risks, so we just want you to identify those and then come up with a bit of a mitigation strategy. And what is the timeline for an appropriate test. We are also looking at your commercialization potential. So we want to make sure that we will not be your one and only customer. We want to make sure that you have a solid team in place that is able to actually bring this to market. And when I say team, it can be just you. We definitely have seen that before, but we just want the acknowledgement that if it is just one person, that you know all the roles you will be playing. Perhaps you have advisors that you're able to turn to for questions, things like that. So we just want to know that you thought about different roles that will need to be taken on. And then we also want to know that you have the financial capacity to bring this to market. So you've thought about all the costs associated. We don't want to get into a situation where we've pre-qualified you, we're ready to go, and then due to financing you can't produce the first 100 that we need to test, something like that. So really for the proposal, we want you to instill faith that you are going to be a successful Canadian business and that this is going to just get you over the first sale kind of hurdle that can sometimes be the hardest, but overall you will go on and make additional sales. So just some of the things that BCIP will do for you. Once you are into the program, you get assigned an innovation manager, and that person will help you create some marketing pieces. Because we're government, they need to be bilingual, so they will help you make them in English and French. And they will also help you to navigate how to contact different people in government to find a testing partner. They will be contacting different people in government to find that test partner. Once that's lined up, they will guide you through contract negotiations and work with you on things like payment terms. We understand that quite often you have not been paying yourself for quite some time, so we try to do as much as possible to get you some money sooner rather than later, where our traditional contract terms may pay at the end of a contract. We will try to do progress payments or monthly payments or something like this so that you get some money a little bit sooner. And just to understand what costs the program will cover, so if you went the standard stream, we'll contract up to $500,000. If you go military, up to $1 million. So we'll cover the innovation, whether it's a product or service, all costs associated with us using that. Shipping is an additional cost, so you could actually have a contract slightly more than the $500,000 because we don't want a barrier of where you're matched in Canada. So if you have something large that needs to be shipped to the other end of the country, we will cover those costs. Installation, training, support service, procurement costs. So there's a number of things that this program will cover. Some things we're not going to cover is any kind of R&D, any costs that you have incurred prior to signing this contract, we cannot add into the contract. We do have a new challenge portion of this program, and currently we have 6 challenges that we're looking for some feedback on. So instead of us just saying, tell us what you have, we're now saying these are things that the government needs. Let us know if you have it. So it's just a more focused portion of the program. There are currently 6. They're in what we call a request for information stage, so we're just getting some feedback from industry on whether you can provide those to us or not at this point. But it's a very similar process to everything I've described. The application is very similar. You just have a clear idea that we are specifically looking for this type of innovation. So again, those are all on our buyandsell.gc.ca website. And as you can see from the session today, we do engage with a number of other innovative support programs, such as you'll hear today from Innovative Solutions Canada and Ideas as well. The IRAP team does our evaluation, and our office organizes collaborative events throughout the province. We actually have one in New Westminster, just in the Lower Mainland, on February 27th. It's called an Innovation Forum. You will be hearing from 12 different government support programs, and then a chance to talk with them after, and we'll have some BCIP pre-qualified companies there as well, so you can speak with them about their experience if anyone's calling in from the Lower Mainland and would like to attend that. Otherwise, we have another event we'll be doing in Kelowna May 10th, but we organize a number of collaborative activities around the province. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is once you are into the BCIP program, we do have a clause for additional sales. So should another department be interested in testing out your innovation, if they have the money themselves, we will no longer pay for it. But if they have the money themselves, you don't have to go through our traditional procurement methods to supply to them. You can do up to 3 additional sales within a 2-year period under the same BCIP contract. So it allows you to make some additional sales within the Government of Canada, and it allows us to use a simplified procurement method to get some really cool stuff to try out. So just quickly, by the numbers, Pacific region is BC and the Yukon. I can tell you we've had 1 company from the Yukon, so the majority of these are BC numbers. So we have awarded 63 contracts to BC companies for just over $15 million. And you can see the average contract value and company size. So as I said, the majority are micro and small businesses that are applying to our program. And of the companies that have gone through BCIP, over 80% have commercialized their innovations after going through BCIP. About a third of the companies get pre-qualified on their first submission. And as I said, if you don't get in on your first try, you are able to try again and you get some feedback on your proposal, so you can use that to resubmit as long as you don't have the commercial sales. And about just under half of the people have actually gone on to sell to other levels of government outside of BCIP and the additional sales. So it does show that companies are learning how government procurement works and are able to apply that knowledge elsewhere. So this is my direct contact information. This is our general innovation email. Feel free to reach out to me for any questions you have. We will be taking questions at the end, or anytime you'd like to meet or get more information about this. So I will now pass it on to Amber with Innovative Solutions Canada.
Okay, great. Thank you. Perfect. And the presentation is already up, so that's wonderful. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We're very excited to tell you about our new program. I don't have control over the slides, so I'll do my best to kind of prompt to next slide. So we'll get started and move to the first slide. Excellent. So Innovative Solutions Canada is a brand new Government of Canada program that was just launched in December. And so basically the premise around this program is that we're looking to help scale up and grow Canadian small and medium-sized enterprises. And to be able to do that, the Government of Canada is setting aside $1 million that will be dedicated to be used through this program. So this program is kind of more towards the second half of the BCIP presentation that was just mentioned, where we're looking to leverage a demand pull approach to government procurement and acquiring research and development. And so what we mean by demand pull is the fact that we are going to be posting challenges and looking for small, medium-sized enterprises to work with us to develop the solution. So by demonstrating that we have a demand, our challenges, we'll be hoping to pull innovation out of the ecosystem and to be able to have access to it from the Government of Canada's perspective. Excuse me. And so basically we have 20 participating departments, which I'll get to shortly. So you can imagine that the amount of economic sectors that we touch are wide and vast. So again, just talking about the concept briefly. So this is a new approach that's allowing small business an opportunity to be part of the solution. So this is going to be a highly competitive program that encourages innovation by supporting cutting-edge research and the development of technology and products that will help solve challenges that are being issued by the Government of Canada. So as many of you know, the Government of Canada is one of the largest purchasers in the country. And so what we want to do is take that purchasing power and help scale up and grow companies. So a few interesting parts of the program that I'd like to highlight to you, and again, this is a brief overview, so if you have any additional questions, we'll take them at the end, but you'll feel free at any time to reach out to us as well. So the neat parts about this program is the fact that this is a grant or a contract. This is not a repayable loan or contribution. Also, the intellectual property that's generated is actually kept by the company. Similar to BCIP, the Government of Canada does not want to hold on to that intellectual property, and we will not be taking equity in your company as well. So those are some key features that I wanted to tell you right away, that it's a grant or contribution, and a few things that might be interesting to you. We're looking to get involved with companies at the very beginning. So perfect. I'm just looking at the slides. It's interesting that controlling your own slides. I'll go back just one slide as to why to apply. So basically, we're looking to deal with small, medium-sized enterprises from the very beginning. So the entry point into our program, I'm so glad that Tess went ahead of us because she was able to explain to you the technology readiness level scale. And for those of you that aren't familiar with it, it's from 1 to 9, and 1 is really around the idea stage, and 9 is around commercialization. So all the steps that in between represent the other numbers. So our program really starts at TRL level 1 to 4. So we're really looking to work with you from the very beginning. And so that's where keeping the intellectual property is very interesting whenever you get to start at the very beginning from an idea point of view. Okay, so we'll move to the next slide. So this is just saying that basically getting into the program sends a very powerful signal to investors that you're ready to take your business to the next level, and the Government of Canada is there to support you. So we heard loud and clear from consultations that were done across the country that Canadians wanted to have a model like this in Canada, which is very similar to the US-based program that's been in existence for approximately 35 years called the Small Business Innovation Research Program, SBIR. And so we've learned quite a few lessons from that program, where basically the companies that participate in that program grow at 2.6 times faster than companies that don't. And so also by participating in that program, the amount of venture capital that's attracted to those companies is enormous. So this slide just highlights the fact that we really do want to work with innovators. We want to bring a program like this to Canada, which we've now done, and we want to help companies scale and grow. So I also mentioned very quickly that we have 20 participating federal departments. So those 20 departments represent a wide variety of economic sectors. And so we really do want to attract a variety of different innovators. So we're not looking for one specific segment. We're looking for a variety of different expertise that would help us access innovation, but also grow the economy. So I'll move to the next slide, just going over very quickly, conscious of time. So basically, this program offers a bit of a unique aspect similar to BCIP, where we're not only providing funding, but we're also providing room to test, as well as the required information that would help your project be successful. So the next couple of slides, I'll walk you through the program, but essentially what we'll be doing is posting challenges and be looking to work with you to find the solutions. But we'll also provide a very supportive environment to help your project get to commercialization. So the program in and of itself, now that we're on this slide, I'll walk you through the program, and then we'll maybe take a minute to talk about the comparison to the Build in Canada Innovation Program. So as I mentioned, the Government of Canada has many challenges that it's facing, and we want to leverage the innovation ecosystem to be able to solve those challenges. But before we post a challenge for small and medium-sized enterprises to see, we'll do our best market analysis to make sure that there's not already an existing solution in the marketplace. Again, we really want to start from the very beginning, from the idea to proof of concept point of view. And so ensuring that there's nothing in the market, we will post a challenge. We would want small, medium-sized enterprises to apply to that challenge by sharing their ideas. The application is relatively short. I believe it's 8 questions long. And that application will be reviewed by NRC IRAP as well. So again, that was mentioned in the BCIP program. And so based on their expertise in the various different fields, they'll be able to give us a recommendation. Also, the department who's leading the challenge, so one of the 20 departments, will also do a review. So based on those assessments, successful candidates will be chosen. This program is competitive, so a minimum of 2 companies will be funded in Phase 1. So looking at this slide, it's the first box on the left-hand side. So in Phase 1, we'll be offering up to 6 months and up to $150,000 to develop a proof of concept. So again, from that idea to proof of concept stage is the goal of Phase 1. The number of companies that will be funded will be based on the quality of applications as well as the available funding. But as I mentioned, it is a competitive program, so there is a minimum of 2 companies that will be funded. Also, we recognize the fact that companies may not have all the existing capabilities that are required that will allow them to be successful in putting these projects forward. And so there is an ability to partner with other organizations, potentially research institutes, for example. So in Phase 1, 1/3 of that funding can go towards a partnership. However, 2/3 of the funding must be spent by the applicant to the program. So once that phase is complete and you've completed your proof of concept, it will also be evaluated once again by the same parties, NRC IRAP, as well as the lead department, to determine whether or not the proposal moves forward. Successful proposals moving into Phase 2 will receive up to $1 million, up to 2 years to develop a working prototype. Should that prototype be successful, the Government of Canada may be your first purchaser. So because you're responding to the challenge at the very beginning, the solution that is developed at the end of it, the Government of Canada may purchase that. So the third box lists a few of the pathways to commercialization, three of which are around purchasing of the product. The last one is talking about the Build in Canada Innovation Program. And so Tess referred to the technology readiness level. So through the BCIP program, it focuses on TRL level 7 to 9. So that's really the late stage prototype aspects and looking for room to test and commercialization. So we recognize that through our program, innovation may require additional support and help. So what we will have in place is a streamlined application into the BCIP program that would allow for additional time and funding to move the solution to commercialization. So I will mention 2 quick more things on this slide that I didn't mention. So in Phase 2, I had talked about partnerships in Phase 1. So in Phase 1, 1/3 of the funding can go to a partnership. In Phase 2, 50% of the funding can go towards a partnership. Also, in Phase 2, we will be making sure that 100% of the participants in Phase 2 are offered intellectual property training, and as well as the eligible expenses in Phase 2 include intellectual property, which is a unique aspect of our program. So it would cover things like a patent or a trademark. So I will move on to the next slide, please. Thank you. So a few objectives of the program. So basically, the Government of Canada is helping to support, or together we will help to develop the development of adoption of technological innovation in Canada. So we're trying to pull that innovation out of the basements and research institutes across the country, and we really want to bring that innovation to commercialization. And what that will allow us to do is grow and scale Canadian companies. We're also encouraging participation from underrepresented groups across the country. And as mentioned, we are trying to foster greater relationships between business and research collaboration, or research institutions. So we'll move to the next one, eligibility. So to be able to apply to this program, you must be for-profit, incorporated in Canada, either federally or provincially, and have 499 employees or less. There are a few other items that are on this list that talk about talking about having a presence in Canada, because we do want to focus on scaling and growing Canadian companies. So the next slide just reminds us that right now on our website we have 5 open challenges. We had 6 to start, but one has recently closed, so we have now 5 active challenges. So we encourage you to go onto our website to see what the challenges are today. However, if you do not see challenges that are actually aligned with your business, what we wanted to remind you through this slide is that we will have many, many more challenges to come. So to be able to process that $100 million annually, the amount of challenges will be up over the hundreds in the next year to 2 years. So if you don't see something in the initial 6, be assured that there'll be many more challenges to come. So to gather that information, we encourage you to go to our website and subscribe to our mailing list, and we'll only be sending you information whenever new challenges are posted or a major event is coming. And so we recognize that checking our website often is not the most efficient way to find challenges, so we will push the information to you once you subscribe to our mailing list. The next slide shows the 20 participating departments. And so as I mentioned, we cover a wide variety of economic sectors. So just starting with the first department here, Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada. We also have Department of Fisheries and Oceans, Global Affairs, Transport Canada, and we even have the Department of National Defence, who are the next presenters up here. So we really do cover a wide variety of economic sectors, so there will be many challenges that far exceed or go far beyond the 6 that are posted right now. The next slide is just a graphic representation of some of those economic sectors that we will be touching. And one of the last slides, because I know we're running short on time, is this is the Small Business Innovation Research Program, the United States model that I referenced at the beginning of the presentation. So through this slide, we just wanted to share with you some of the great successes that that program experienced, and we are very pleased to be able to say that this program is now here in Canada as well, and we hope to far exceed these type of numbers as well in Canada. So lastly is the our contact information. Oh, I guess we don't have that slide in there. There should be one more slide on that presentation. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we can share the contact information separately to the whole organization. So thank you very much for your time. I'll end it there and I'll leave time for questions. But if you're interested in finding out more information, because we do not have that slide, you can find our website at canada.ca/innovative-solutions. And so we look forward to hearing any feedback that you may have. And I appreciate your time in listening to our presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber. I just want to jump in here quickly before I hand it over to Kate and confirm with everybody. Yes, all contact details and information will be provided in the follow-up email that we send out early next week. And we'll also be including a copy of these slides for everyone to reference. So along with the recording, you'll have the slides as well. So just wanted to confirm that. Thank you very much, Amber. And now I will hand it over to you, Kate.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Yeah, I'm very pleased to be able to talk to you today about our new program that we're hoping to launch very shortly called Ideas. So unlike the other 2 programs, we haven't actually launched yet. So as you will notice, my presentation is not as detailed. I'm not able to provide that level of detail at this time. However, please be on the lookout for the launch of our program, and we will be able to provide more details shortly. So, excuse me, what I'm going to focus on is really to talk a little bit about the motivation behind the program and why we want to attract people from very diverse groups to the program to help us create new solutions for defense and security. So our new defense strategy, called Strong, Secure, Engaged, recognized innovation as a key enabler to help us really position our department and the Canadian Armed Forces for the future threat environment. So we understand that the change of technological innovation is such that we really have to access innovation from outside just our government labs, and we really want industry and academia to work with us to help us develop those solutions. So if I move to the next slide, please. Yeah, so this slide talks basically about the motivation behind the program, and it is really to help us stay ahead of our adversaries and to help us navigate this changing world to where technology and science is playing a bigger and bigger role. And we do recognize that some of that evolution, again, is at such a pace that we have to really partner and reach out to the broader innovation community to help us tackle some of the challenges. So if I can go to the next slide. I talked a little bit about the innovation and why we must innovate, again, to help us really position ourselves for the future. But we also recognize that in order to innovate, we really have to recruit more of the Canadian innovation ecosystem to be our partners in the delivery of solutions to defense and security. And that includes women and minorities, and really the key to a successful solution, in my view, is to have a very diverse perspective on problems, so that we are able to come out with really the most innovative and impactful solutions that will serve us, our department, and Canada in general. So actually, as part of our program, in order to attract this diverse viewpoint and diverse perspectives, we have included factors such as gender-based analysis as part of our evaluation criteria for our program. So we do really want to encourage, again, diverse perspectives. So we want to reach out not just to the traditional defense stakeholders that we have been working with up till now, but we want to reach into communities that maybe traditionally have not considered defense and security as their client, but hopefully through us offering opportunities for funding, we will be able to create partnerships and have people have a look at the defense and security domain as a potential market for their innovations. So if I can go into the next slide. We're not the only ones who are thinking along these lines. Our allies, notably the U.S., Australia, and the United Kingdom, have implemented similar programs, again, to programs that are aimed at leveraging external innovation or innovation external to the government for defense and security purposes. So our partners in the U.S. Launched what they're calling the third offset strategy, and they actually just released the new defense innovation strategy as well. And again, in there is very strong language which talks about the need to exploit and explore the broader innovation ecosystem beyond just what we have traditionally done. Australia, likewise, has invested heavily in innovation, defense and security innovation, as has the United Kingdom. And in the development of our program, we have really tried to take the lessons learned from and best practices generated by those international programs to help us shape our program, which we are calling Ideas. So if I could go to the next slide. So all of these programs that I described have some principles in common, and one of them, which we've adopted into our program, and I'm sure you've heard this phrase before, fail fast, learn fast. It doesn't mean that we want to fail with our program. It just means that we're open to failure, and we recognize that failure is part of the learning process. So as we're really hoping to take more risks with our funding, traditionally defense is viewed as a very kind of risk-averse client, but again, in the design of our program, we're hoping to invest broadly and then foster the most promising solution all the way through to the progression of the technology readiness level spectrum that the other two speakers have talked about. So in order to attract perhaps those non-traditional stakeholders, we have put a big emphasis on streamlining our business processes. Hopefully, everybody will find our application process fairly easy. We have an online portal, and all the applications are submitted and evaluated in the cloud to help facilitate, facilitate the process. And we also, as I mentioned already, are focused on the multidisciplinary approach to problem solving. So we want to reach out to not just our traditional partners, but also others who might have solutions that, while not necessarily tailored for defense, might have defense and security applications. So if I can go to the next slide. If you talk numbers, the new defense policy has committed to investing $1.6 billion through this initiative over the next 20 years, which works out to about 80 million a year, so similar ballpark to the ISC program. And there's a number of elements to our program. So we also do, similarly again to the previous speakers, we do a challenge-based call for proposals. So you will see our challenges, our first call for proposals posted shortly on the buy and sell portal that you was also mentioned earlier. However, we also have other components to our program, such as, for example, contests. This is an idea that was started by the U.S. Defense Department, and they've had a lot of success with. So I'm a scientist, so I follow these things, but I find some of the stuff they're doing extremely cool. For example, they had something called the Cyber Grant Challenge that took place in Las Vegas, and basically the Defense Department invited a bunch of hackers to try to crack cybersecurity codes, and the winner of that challenge was rewarded with a $1 million prize. So we are hoping to do something similar. We don't have Las Vegas, so it probably won't be that flashy, but you get the idea. The idea is to really incentivize people to try and solve defense and security challenges in a kind of non-traditional way. We are also, another component of our program is called sandboxes, and a sandbox is basically a test environment. So we're going to be building some test environments to evaluate different types of technologies, code, and other things that, again, are relevant to defense and security. We're also investing heavily in trying to build innovation capacity and capability outside of, again, the traditional defense community by building what we're calling innovation networks. So innovation networks will be groups of people, and this is mostly actually aimed at academia, that will be able to come together to, again, maybe think about defense and security challenges from a different perspective. And we also are hoping to hold what we're calling ideation events, where we're going to be, again, bringing a very multidisciplinary expertise to look at defense and security problems and perhaps help us define them in a way that we haven't considered before. Okay, so if I could just go to the next slide. So these are just some, again, our program has not launched, so I can tell you that there's going to be 16 challenges that are going to be launched in our first call for proposals, but I can't reveal them yet. But the types of, or how those challenges might look is kind of outlined on this slide. So, for example, developing an algorithm for increasing data flow by a certain amount with such and such constraints, or developing a new diagnostic text for PTSD, etc. So these are the types of, this is the type of wording. I'm not going to say that these are the types of problems that we're grappling with, because you will see the problems when the program actually launches. But this is what we mean when we talk about, what is a challenge that we might be posting. Okay, if I could go to the next slide. Okay, I'm going to just breeze through this quickly, and actually this will be probably my last slide, because I do want to leave, I'm mindful of everybody's time, and I do want to leave some time for discussion. So this is a very kind of crude conceptual design of how the different ideas, program elements will work together. So everything we do is guided by what our CAF and security, Canadian Armed Forces and security clients need. So those we call L1 priorities. These are really the types of problems that are faced by, our folks on the ground that are out there operating, helping to keep us safe. We're going to bring those problems to what we're calling ideation events, which I also mentioned. So these are these multidisciplinary brainstorming sessions that are really meant to stimulate creativity and help us look at defense and security problems from perhaps a different perspective. The output of the ideation events will be those S&T, those challenges that I talked about. So this is really the problems that we want to work on, and those are going to be fed into one of the ideas elements, which are either competitive projects, which is a call for proposals, a challenge-based call for proposals, very similar to what Amber described. There's also going to be the contest component. innovation networks, again, more aimed at building capacity and capability, not as much project-based, and that at the higher TRL level, so again, once you have a prototype, something you can actually test, we're going to be providing innovators with a test environment. We call those sandboxes. And finally, when your innovation gets very, very close to commercialization, we will have a component called Innovation Assessment and Implementation. And in this element, the department will be able to procure a small number of units of whatever it might be, the innovation, and test them out in the field, in a real operational environment. So while a sandbox is more like a lab, a test environment, a simulated environment, we actually want to put some of these innovations to test out in the field. So the great thing is that, we work very closely with the Canadian Armed Forces, and we have their buy-in, and they want to do this. So I think, and the advantage for the innovator, of course, that you will be able to get feedback on your innovation and to hopefully help make it better and more marketable to the defense industry in Canada and abroad by getting feedback from the real operators. We also have sort of enabling components to this, so we also want to help guide innovators through our process. This is going to be done through something we're called the integrators. So these are going to be people who are going to be designated to help people navigate our processes and help guide them all the way, from ideation to that innovation assessment, hopefully at the end. So I'm going to stop right there, being mindful of the time. The other slides basically go into a little more detail on all the different components, but again, because we haven't launched yet, I think all will be revealed when we finally do go live, and I'm certainly happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Kate, and Tess and Amber as well. I'm just going to unmute everyone here just in case. So that was a wealth of information and knowledge that you shared with us today. Thank you very much. And I did have that question come in about will the slides be shared, which I think will be valuable to everyone. And in the follow-up email as well, I'll ask all of you to share with us, some quick links, websites where they can go get some questions answered, some more information about your programs, et cetera, especially on those TRL levels, so they can understand where they are in that process as well, and maybe resources for people to learn more about that and how do they determine what level they're at, things like that. So all our panelists are unmuted. If any of you have any closing thoughts or comments to share with the people who are listening to us here today.
This is Kate. Again, I want to close by saying that we do really want to encourage your participation. I don't know if you saw, but last week, BMO Financial Group, along with the Status of Women Canada, released a report on the status of women entrepreneurship in Canada. We all the IDEA staff read the report with great interest because, again, it's very pertinent to our program, and we want to learn from it to be able to be a part of the solution, to hopefully remove some of the barriers to entry. There's some very interesting findings in there. I don't know if you have a copy of the report. If not, I'm happy to share it with you. It's very insightful. But again, my message is please consider this program. I know defense and security is not an obvious choice for some entrepreneurs, but we have a very diverse set of problems, and you'll be surprised. And a lot of the time, you'll find that what you're working on might actually have a defense and security application.
Great, thank you very much. And Amber, Tess, any closing comments or information you want to share with the group?
It's Tess here. Yeah, I really encourage you to get in contact with our office. I know it's often hard to fully understand all of these programs with these short presentations. So do reach out. I think all of us are accessible and able to assist you to further understand the programs that are right for you. As you can see from today, We do have a really good network, so if our programs aren't right for you, chances are we have a connection with another government program that could help you along. So just please do reach out. And for anyone in the Lower Mainland, I definitely encourage you to come to our Innovation Forum on February 27th in New Westminster. It's part of their Innovation Week. It will be at the Anvil Centre. I can send the registration link to Kerrilee to share, or you can visit New Westminster's Innovation Week page and see all the events.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tess. So quickly in closing up, I just wanted to make an announcement as well that we've been very fortunate here at Women's Enterprise Center to be chosen as one of the agents for the Discovery Foundation Tech Program in 2018, which is the technology education program. And we're going to be doing some peer mentoring groups for women in tech. So it's called the Discovery Foundation EM3 program, which is Entrepreneurial Mindset, Mastery, and Mentoring. And we're going to deliver that to growth-ready women entrepreneurs who are in business less than 5 years, in having groups in Victoria, Kelowna, and Greater Vancouver. So that will be applicable to a lot of you who have joined us here on the call today. So please make sure you do sign up for our e-news and e-blasts to receive those updates about when those groups will be taking place. And also, it was mentioned today about intellectual property and how when you participate in these programs, you maintain your intellectual property. And I just wanted to let you know about a webinar that we have coming up actually on March 15th, which is an introduction to intellectual property, which seems very timely now after this call today. And we're working with Borden Ladner Gervais LLP out of Vancouver as part of their Driven by Women initiative. So this is part 2 of our 3-part series, and it's going to go over what is IP, what are the common types of IP, why it's valuable, and how to protect your IP. So that's a great one for those of you. So we will be sure to include a link to that event as well in our follow-up email to you. So again, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you especially to Tess, Amber, and to Kate for taking the time to share information about all of your programs today. And good luck to everyone in your entrepreneurship endeavors. And please remember that Women's Enterprise Center is also here to help you with resources, funding, support, advice at any time. And the majority of our services are free. So if you have any questions at all, please be sure to reach out to us. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to finish our recording today and wish you well. And hopefully it's sunny and not as cold as it is here in Kelowna where you are. So thank you, everyone, and enjoy your day.
Thank you.